I was deep into reviewing the quarterly financial reports at my office in downtown Toronto, the hum of the financial district buzzing outside my window, when my phone erupted in a frenzy of notifications. Alerts piled up from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all linked to my wife's social media profiles. The top headline hit like a punch to the gut: my daughter Emily's dream wedding, celebrated just the day before yesterday. What on earth was this wedding? Heart-pounding, I opened Instagram to a flood of over 200 stunning photos. There was Emily, glowing in an elegant ivory gown with delicate lace details, standing arm in arm with a man I didn't recognize, her new husband, apparently. My wife looked poised in a high-end silk ensemble, surrounded by opulent tables draped in fresh florals, crystal chandeliers sparkling in a grand ballroom at the Fairmont Royal York Hotel, and a live string quartet playing softly in the background. I scrolled through them one by one, taking it all in slowly. My brother-in-law Nathan was captured mid-toast with a glass of champagne raised high. My sister Margaret was laughing heartily next to her husband. Extended cousins, longtime neighbors from our Etobicoke community, work acquaintances, easily 300 guests in total. Not a single soul had breathed a word of this to me. For the past 2 months, Emily had been artfully dodging my calls and texts. My wife had turned unusually distant and sharp-tempered. Whenever I gently asked what was bothering her, she'd brush it off with vague mentions of wedding planning overwhelming everything, getting visibly irritated if I pressed for any real details like dates or venues. I pulled up our message history right there. 3 weeks prior, I'd texted Emily directly about potential dates so I could request time off work. No reply. I followed up with a call, straight to voicemail. I even messaged my wife for an update. Her response was curt: "Everything's under control. Don't worry about it." My colleague Raj wandered by my desk just then, noticing my ashen face. "Mate, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I managed to croak out, "Just found out my daughter got married yesterday." He froze in his tracks. "Wait, you weren't there? You had no idea?" I shook my head. "None. That's the messed up part." He whistled low. "That's brutal. That cake in the pics probably cost a couple thousand alone. And the flowers, the venue, catering for that crowd, this was no simple city hall ceremony. I'd guess 50 grand easy, maybe pushing 70. For months earlier, during a casual dinner at our favorite Indian spot in Mississauga, my wife had brought up wedding expenses over butter chicken. Emily deserved something special, she said. We should aim for a budget around 50,000. I agreed we could make it work and asked when we'd start hashing out the plans together. She waved it away casually: "I'll take care of all the details, you just make sure the funds are set aside." I'd naturally assumed I'd be right in the thick of it, walking my daughter down the aisle, sharing in the joy, at the very least knowing the date and time. Clearly, that was a foolish assumption on my part. The comments under the photos were endless, absolutely breathtaking. What a picture-perfect day for the happy couple. My mind raced. I could pick up the phone right now, demand explanations, create a massive scene. Or I could choose a different path. I clicked on the very first photo, Emily and her groom cutting into that towering cake. Without overthinking it, I tapped the heart icon. Just once. Set the phone face down and forced myself back to the spreadsheets. It buzzed almost immediately, undoubtedly my wife seeing the like and freaking out. I didn't check. Raj swung back by with 2 steaming lattes from the cafe downstairs. "So, what's the plan right now?" "Finish these reports," I said. "Then make some calls, to my wife." "And your solicitor," he added with a knowing nod. "Yeah, that too. Makes perfect sense." I powered through the afternoon, working as if the world hadn't tilted on its axis. Because to me, it hadn't. There was no wedding celebration in my reality. No family gathering, no dances or speeches. I was right where I'd been the day before, at my desk in the office tower, grinding through my job, completely in the dark about my own family's major life event. The emotion bubbling up wasn't pure rage, it was something simpler, more profound. If they could pull off an elaborate event like this, invite 300 people from near and far, and somehow forget to loop me in, what other major decisions had they made without me? And did I even want to know? The phone kept vibrating relentlessly. I flipped it over, screen down. Whatever panic mode they were in, it wasn't my crisis to fix. Not yet, anyway. When I finally left the office that evening, there were 17 missed calls and 43 unread texts waiting. I didn't bother opening them. Instead, I swung by my lawyer's office in the Underground Path network. Graham had handled my business contracts before, reliable, no-nonsense type. His receptionist informed me he'd headed home for the day, but I could book the first slot tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. I did, without hesitation. Then I drove back to our family home in Etobicoke, the one I'd been faithfully paying the mortgage on for the past 18 years. It was eerily empty when I arrived, no sign of my wife's Audi in the driveway, no Emily's little hatchback. Just profound quiet. I heated up some leftover pad thai in the microwave, sat alone at the kitchen island, and glanced at the phone one last time. The messages were a torrent of desperation. Where are you? Why aren't you picking up? We need to talk, this isn't funny anymore. I crafted a single response, saw the wedding photos online. Looked like a beautiful event. Glad everyone enjoyed themselves. Then I powered the phone off completely and headed to bed. Tomorrow was going to be eventful, but tonight, I felt a rare clarity I hadn't experienced in months. I knew precisely what steps to take next, and no one was going to dictate that I didn't need to know anymore. The next morning, I met Graham at his office overlooking the lake. I showed him the full Instagram album, the blocked message threads, the ignored calls. They planned this entire wedding behind your back, excluded you completely, but fully expected you'd foot the bill, he summarized. Exactly right. Our joint checking and savings accounts, the mortgage, all in both our names, but I'd been the primary breadwinner for over 2 decades. First priority, separate the finances immediately, he advised. Open a new personal account, redirect your direct deposit payroll. Leave exactly her share for ongoing household expenses. What about the wedding costs? I asked. Did you sign any vendor contracts yourself? Not a one, I replied. I had no idea the wedding was even happening. He gave a wry smile. Then legally, you're off the hook. No signature, no obligation. By noon, the new account was set up online through my bank app. Paycheck redirection confirmed. By 3 p.m., I'd transferred out precisely my half of the joint balances, with every transaction meticulously documented and emailed to Graham for records. I kept the phone off for a full 3 days straight. Raj noticed me staying late at the office, avoiding the empty house. My wife had apparently taken time off after the wedding chaos. On day 4, I finally powered it back on. 217 messages, 63 voicemails, mostly from her and Emily. I sent one group text, I'll be home Thursday evening if you want to talk. Come alone, no one else. Thursday rolled around. Her SUV was already parked in the driveway when I pulled in. She was waiting at the kitchen table, arms crossed tightly, expression stormy. 3 days of complete silence. Do you have any idea how that felt? I had some personal matters to handle, I replied evenly. Our daughter just got married, and this is how you react. I heard about it, and it did look expensive. Her face flushed crimson. That one like you left on the photo. Do you know how humiliating that was for everyone? What exactly did you tell people about my absence? That you were tied up with work, couldn't get the time off. I never even asked for time off. She shot to her feet. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm trying to wrap my head around how my own daughter got married without me knowing the when or where. I told you we were planning the wedding. You said you were handling the details, I assumed that included keeping me in the loop. You should have figured it out yourself. Figured it out how, exactly? She had no answer, just a blank stare. So you deliberately planned this without me? I said you were excluded to avoid any potential drama. Drama about what? Her fiancé. The massive costs. You've never even met him. I sat down across from her at the table. You cut me out because you assumed I'd cause issues, didn't bother asking, didn't communicate, just decided I was the problem. Emily was so stressed out. I was protecting her from you, from her own father. Her hands were shaking now. The venue payment bounced check. The lakeside resort in Muskoka canceled their honeymoon suite. They need that money right away. There it was, the real reason for this confrontation. The $50,000. You promised we'd cover it. I promised to contribute to my daughter's wedding, not bankroll an extravagant event I wasn't invited to or informed about. This is just petty revenge. No, this is me drawing a line. There's a difference between bruised feelings and basic self-respect. So you're fine letting Emily's new marriage start off buried in debt just because your ego got dinged. My ego isn't hurt. My role in this family is crystal clear now. I'm the wallet, not the participant. I've already spoken to my solicitor. Separation papers are being filed, you'll get served soon. The color drained from her face. You did what? Over one wedding. This isn't just about the wedding. It's the culmination of 20 years of being sidelined from decisions. The wedding was simply the most blatant proof. You're not part of our family's inner circle anymore, just the funding source. I stood and headed for the stairs. You can't just walk away like this. I'm not walking away. This is my house, I've paid the mortgage solo for 18 years. You're welcome to leave if you'd prefer. I went upstairs, closed the bedroom door firmly behind me. I could hear her crying downstairs, then the sound of her car engine starting, the garage door rumbling open. The house fell silent once more. I sat on the edge of the bed, not consumed by anger or sadness, but utterly exhausted from years of trying to force my way into a family that had long decided I didn't truly belong. Tomorrow, Emily would likely show up demanding answers. But for tonight, the message had been delivered loud and clear. I wasn't going to finance my own exclusion any longer. Emily arrived unannounced Friday morning. I was in the kitchen brewing a fresh pot of coffee when the doorbell rang insistently. I opened it to find her standing there, flanked by her new husband Alex, the first time I'd laid eyes on him in person. Dad, we really need to talk. Come on in. They settled awkwardly on the living room couch while I stayed standing, leaning against the kitchen counter with my mug steaming in hand. Mum says you're refusing to pay for any of the wedding costs. That's not quite accurate, I corrected. I'm refusing to cover an event I wasn't invited to or involved in. Alex jumped in politely. Sir, I think there's been a serious misunderstanding here. Really? Which part, the discovering my daughter's wedding via Instagram after the fact, or the fact that 300 people knew all the details except her father? Emily's eyes were already red-rimmed. Mum told me you knew about it and had agreed to stay away to avoid causing any drama. Did you ever ask me directly if that was true? She looked down at her hands. No. Mum handled all the planning and communication. So it never struck you as strange that your dad wasn't reaching out, wasn't involved, didn't even get to meet your fiancé. Mum kept saying you were swamped with work. I work standard 40-hour weeks at the same steady job I've held for 18 years. I've never been too busy for you or any milestone in your life. When have I ever prioritized work over you? Tears started streaming down her face now, and Alex wrapped a comforting arm around her shoulders. Look, I'm not truly angry at you. You trusted your mother, that's what daughters do. But here's the reality of what went down, your mum deliberately shut me out. She fed you a story about me causing drama, told everyone else I'd consented to skipping it, and gave me zero information. Then, when the bills rolled in, she expected me to blindly cut a check for 50 grand. We're in real debt now, Dad, Emily whispered. The venue is threatening lawsuits. The resort is demanding immediate payment or it'll go to collections. How much did you personally sign for? Total came to $80,000. We put down a $25,000 deposit up front. The remaining $55,000 was due right after. I finally sat down in the armchair across from them. Did your mum ever tell you she had the full amount secured? She nodded slowly. She said you both had it saved up specifically for my wedding, that it was all set aside in the joint account. We had about $30,000 in joint savings at the time. I withdrew my exact half, $15,000, after learning all this. She has her $15,000. So where was the other $50,000 supposed to materialize from? Emily's face registered genuine shock. She assured me the money was there, ready to go. She lied to you. And even if it had been there, I'm not obligated to pay for a wedding I was deliberately excluded from. That's not punishment, it's self-respect. Alex cleared his throat again. Sir, I get that you're upset, but this will destroy Emily's credit score. We're starting our marriage in a massive financial hole. Then maybe you both should have asked harder questions before signing contracts for $80,000, an amount more than most people earn in a full year. Did no one pause to think that was wildly excessive? Mum insisted you could easily afford it. I can afford many things, but that doesn't mean I'm required to fund them, especially not when I'm iced out of all planning and the actual event. Emily wiped her eyes. So you're really not going to help us at all? That's not what I said. I'm not paying off that wedding bill. But here's what I will do, I'll loan you $15,000. You'll repay it at $250 per month, no interest. That should cover the most pressing debts right now. $15,000. But we still need over $50,000 to settle everything. Then figure out the rest. Talk to your mum, she's the one who made all those promises about the money. She says she doesn't have anything left. Then. She lied to you about that too. She committed to those vendors, assured everyone the funds existed. That's her mess to sort. Alex stood up, trying to keep his tone respectful. With all due respect, sir, she's still your daughter. I'm fully aware. I'm also aware that I apparently wasn't worthy enough to walk her down the aisle or even be told about the day, but I'm suddenly good enough to bail everyone out as an ATM. That's not how this works. You're being incredibly selfish right now. I rose to match him. Selfish is orchestrating an $80,000 extravaganza, inviting 300 guests but excluding the bride's father. Selfish is lying to vendors, to family, to your own daughter, and then expecting others to clean up the fallout. Emily stepped between us, pleading. Dad, please. I'm so sorry. I should have called you myself. I should have questioned Mum more instead of just going along. You're 27 years old now. You signed legally binding contracts for $80,000, but it never occurred to you to verify the basics directly with me. Your mum exploited that trust to maneuver me out entirely. Now you're all learning a hard, expensive lesson about verifying what you hear, even from those closest to you. I stepped into my home office, retrieved my checkbook, and wrote one out for $15,000 on the spot. Handed it to Emily. This is a formal loan. We'll draw up simple paperwork today outlining the terms, $250 monthly until it's repaid in full. Miss even one payment, and the entire balance becomes due immediately. She took the check with trembling hands. Thank you, Dad. Don't thank me yet. This isn't a handout or forgiveness. It's me helping pull my daughter out of a pit she was manipulated into. But I'm not filling the entire pit, your mum dug the biggest part of it. She needs to contribute to fixing her own promises. After they left, I sank back into my chair with the now cold coffee. It was bitter, but no more so than the situation. My phone buzzed moments later, a text from my wife. Emily says you're only giving her $15,000. You're seriously going to let her credit get ruined over your stupid pride? I replied coolly, I'm letting her learn that actions and lies have real consequences. You promised money that never existed. You figure out how to make it right. She called immediately. I let it ring out to voicemail. The house settled into the quiet I craved. My daughter had been played like a pawn in a larger game. My wife had masterminded the exclusion. And now, everyone was discovering I wasn't the easy mark they'd pegged me for. The wedding fairy tale was shattered. Their marriage was launching amid debt collectors. And I was done playing savior to problems I had no hand in creating. The family ambush arrived Sunday afternoon without warning. I was out in the driveway washing my SUV, hose spraying suds under the crisp Toronto autumn sun, when 3 cars pulled up in convoy. Out piled my sister Margaret, her husband Nathan, my wife's parents, and her 2 older brothers, faces set in righteous determination. Perfect timing. Margaret approached first, hands on hips. We need to have a serious talk about what you're doing to Emily. I'm not doing anything to her. I'm simply choosing not to bankroll a wedding I wasn't invited to or informed about. My father-in-law stepped forward aggressively. This is pure vindictiveness. That poor girl is drowning in debt because you can't swallow your ego for 1 minute. My ego. I learned about my own daughter's wedding by scrolling Instagram the day after it happened. But go ahead, let's focus on me. Nathan crossed his arms. We all just assumed you were fully aware. Your wife said you'd agreed to the whole arrangement. Then you made the exact same mistake Emily did. No one bothered to verify with me directly. You took her word at face value. 300 invitations went out, but I got 0. Didn't that strike anyone as off? Margaret shifted uncomfortably. She mentioned you had a work conflict that weekend. I work Monday to Friday only. Haven't touched a weekend shift in over a decade. But sure, no one picked up the phone to confirm. My mother-in-law chimed in. She's your flesh and blood. Family steps up for family, no matter what. I did step up, offered her a $15,000 loan with fair terms. That's meaningful help. What I'm not doing is writing a $55,000 check for an exclusionary event. There's a clear distinction. 15 grand isn't nearly enough, one of my wife's brothers snapped. The venue's already lawyering up. Then perhaps someone should have considered that before inking contracts for $80,000 without confirmed funding in place. Nathan pressed, you drained the joint account, that's where the problem started. I withdrew my half after being shut out of my daughter's wedding. I'm not leaving my savings pooled with someone actively undermining me. Margaret reached out to touch my arm gently. Can we speak privately, just you and me? Whatever needs saying, say it right here in front of everyone. I'm finished with side conversations that get twisted into weapons later. She let her hand drop. Fine. You're ruining your relationship with Emily over a few bucks. I'm protecting myself from a family that sees me purely as a bottomless wallet. And for the record, Emily and I spoke yesterday at length. She now realizes her mom lied to her about the money and my involvement. She's upset, but her frustration is aimed at the right person, not me. That's not what your wife is telling us, Margaret countered. My soon-to-be ex-wife spins a lot of tales. Like claiming I agreed to skip the wedding, or assuring Emily the full savings were earmarked and ready. All fabrications. My father-in-law loomed closer. You're actually pushing through with a divorce over this single incident. I filed for legal separation on Tuesday. The full divorce will proceed, but no, this isn't solely about the wedding. It's 20 years of being treated as optional in my own family's life. The wedding was merely the most public, undeniable symptom. You'll regret burning these bridges. Maybe I will. But I'm done being the silent ATM for decisions that sideline me. If that paints me as the villain in your narrative, so be it, I can live with that. My mother-in-law's tone sharpened. What about Emily's future? Her credit will be trashed, no mortgage, no car loan, nothing. Then she'll absorb a vital lesson about only signing what you can truly afford. I'm providing $15,000 to soften the blow. The balance is on her, her mom, and the vendors they committed to. You're heartless. Once again, I'm the one being excluded. Big difference. Nathan shook his head. I don't even recognize you anymore. I'm exactly the same man I've always been. You're just seeing the version who no longer rolls over. Turns out, people dislike it when the doormat stands up. One brother whipped out his phone. I'm calling Laura right now, she needs to hear this nonsense. Go for it. Put her on speaker, I've got nothing to hide. He dialed, and she picked up immediately. Did you talk to him yet? We're with him now. He's completely unmovable. Of course he is, that stubborn fool. I spoke up clearly. Laura, I'm right here, though I can't hear you on my end. Dead silence from her. Here's the reality moving forward, I continued. Separation is filed. Emily gets a structured $15,000 loan from me. The rest of the funds you promised vendors and family. That's entirely on you. You made those commitments without my input or consent. I don't have that kind of cash lying around. Then you never should have promised it in the first place. You lied to the vendors, to Emily, to our extended family. These are the direct fallout from your choices. Everyone's going to find out about this. They'll see exactly what kind of father you are. Actually, everyone will see precisely what kind of wife and mother you are, because I'm done covering for you. You chose to blast this publicly on Instagram. Fine, let's keep it public. I ended the call abruptly. Turned to the group clustered in my driveway. Anyone else care to weigh in? Margaret shook her head slowly. I think we've all said plenty. Good. Then you're free to go. I've got a car to finish detailing. They lingered awkwardly for another full minute, exchanging uneasy glances, before piling back into their vehicles. Margaret was the last to leave, pausing by her door. Are you absolutely certain about this path? More certain than I've felt about anything in years. She gave a small nod and drove off. I resumed scrubbing the SUV with renewed focus. My phone was already exploding, group chats firing off, individual pleas, endless missed calls. I silenced it all. That evening, I decided to take a deliberate step I'd mulled over since first seeing those photos. I logged into Facebook, navigated to the main wedding album my wife had proudly posted, and left a single, measured comment on the top post. What a stunning wedding, thrilled to see Emily and Alex surrounded by such joy. I discovered it the same way many of you did, through these social media photos after the fact. After being blocked from all communication and deliberately excluded, I learned my daughter's big day had come and gone. For anyone wondering about my absence, there's the truth: I wasn't invited, though I was still expected to cover the costs. Heartfelt congratulations to the couple, wish I could have shared it live. I hit post and powered off the phone. The truth was now public domain. No more secrets to guard, no more lies to prop up. Monday morning brought 462 notifications when I finally turned the phone back on. My comment had gone viral within our circles, hundreds of replies, the vast majority supportive, with many openly questioning my wife's version of events. A handful of family tried weakly defending her, only to get piled on by others connecting the dots. Raj caught me in the lunchroom. Saw your Facebook post, man. That's some raw honesty, brutal but fair. It's just the facts. Your wife's losing it online from what my partner showed me. She's accusing you of fabricating the whole thing, saying you knew everything and are now smearing Emily to save face. Let me guess, no one's buying it. Not really. Too many holes. Why no photos of you at all? Why did no one spot you there? And why block you if everything was supposedly agreed upon? I took a bite of my turkey sandwich. Exactly. The truth holds up. An unknown number rang mid-meal. I picked up. Is this Emily's father? Yes, speaking. This is Laura Patel from Rosedale Hall venue. We've been attempting to contact your wife repeatedly about the outstanding balance, but she's gone radio silent, no calls, no emails returned. That's an issue between you and her. We were explicitly told you'd be handling the final payment. We have text confirmations from Mrs. Whitaker assuring us. I'm sure you do, but I never authorized or agreed to anything. I wasn't even aware of, let alone invited to, the wedding. Whatever she represented to you, resolve it with her, not me. There was a long pause. You weren't invited to your own daughter's wedding. Correct. Learned about it post-event on Instagram. Understood. We'll pursue her directly then. Good luck. I hung up. 5 minutes later, another call from the Muskoka Resort, identical exchange, same result. By Tuesday evening, my wife's Facebook profile had switched to private, and the wedding album vanished entirely. But screenshots of my comment, and hers, were circulating widely in community groups and beyond. The full story was spreading like wildfire. Wednesday afternoon, Emily called while I was grabbing groceries at the local No Frills. Dad, Mum's having a total breakdown. She's holed up in a hotel room downtown, won't come out. Her friends are calling her fake and manipulative in the comments. Even Grandma's gone no contact. That sounds rough for her. Are you sorry at all? This is all because you went public. I shared the truth publicly after your mum made it a public spectacle. There's a difference, she created the mess. People are saying awful things about her everywhere. People are holding her accountable for her actions, excluding me, lying about it to cover tracks, promising funds that didn't exist, expecting blind compliance. She's still my mum. And I'm still your dad, the one deemed unworthy for the wedding day itself but essential for the invoice payments. You're more torn up about online backlash than I am about missing the event. There was a heavy silence on her end. Alex's family is asking tough questions too. They want to know why the bride's father was completely absent. Tell them the straightforward truth: your mum excluded me and fabricated excuses around it. That's so embarrassing for everyone. Embarrassment fades quickly. Crushing debt lingers for years. How are you managing the venue and resort bills? We're negotiating extended payment plans. Alex's parents stepped up with $10,000 to help. Your loan covers another $15,000. We're still short, but it's at least structured now, not a total catastrophe. And your mom? She claims she's tapped out, says you stripped everything in the separation. We're legally separated, not fully divorced yet. I only took my half of our joint savings, she retains hers. If she squandered it, that's her decision. Did she blow it on wedding deposits? Quite possibly. But she could have consulted me openly about real costs, involved me from day one. She opted for secrecy instead. I thought she was just trying to give me a flawless day without any family arguments. She handed you a fatherless ceremony and saddled you with over $50,000 in fallout. That's not flawless, it's profoundly selfish. Another long pause. People keep grilling me online, why did I accept it? Why no questions about you being missing? What do you say? That I trusted Mom implicitly, that she swore you were fine with it all. And yeah, I didn't double check. Now I come off looking gullible. And Alex's family thinks our side is one big dysfunctional mess. It was, and is. But sunlight's the best disinfectant. No more facade of perfection when reality was rotting underneath. She sighed deeply. I have to run, Alex is calling. One last thing, Emily, I love you unconditionally. I'm sorry your wedding got eclipsed by this drama, but I'll never apologize for speaking my truth. I know, Dad. I get it now. After hanging up, I loaded the groceries into the car, reflecting on how my wife's carefully curated world was imploding. Friends abandoning ship, family grilling her, her flawless social media persona reduced to rubble. A small part of me felt a pang of pity. The larger part replayed that desk moment, stumbling onto wedding photos cold, realizing I'd been ghosted from my own blood's milestone, reduced to a financial prop. No pity there, just resolve. Thursday morning, Graham rang with an update. Your wife's lawyer contacted me overnight. They're pushing to fast-track the full divorce proceedings. Any idea why the sudden rush? Likely her reputation's cratering publicly, she wants a clean exit before it worsens. Their proposal, a straightforward asset split. She keeps her half of savings. You retain the house given your mortgage history. She walks with no further claims, no alimony battle since you're both employed adults. Zero asset fights. Sounds ideal. We could squeeze for more leverage. No need. I just want closure. If she's offering a no-drama split, accept immediately. Papers drafting now. That afternoon, a text from Margaret, Mom wants a word with you privately. I called her mother directly instead. What exactly does she want to discuss? To apologize properly, for not questioning Laura's story, for buying into it blindly, for joining the driveway pile-on accusing you of spite. Put her on the line. There was shuffling, then my mother-in-law's voice, subdued. I owe you a profound apology. I trusted my daughter's word without a shred of verification. I was wrong to ambush you like that. Apology accepted. But the harm's already widespread, my bond with Emily is frayed, my marriage is ending, and I missed walking my daughter down the aisle because of unchecked lies. I know. Laura's paying dearly now, cut off from everyone, utterly isolated. That's the toll of manipulating those around you. Truth has a way of surfacing. Are you pleased by her downfall? Neither happy nor gleeful. It's simply cause and effect. She sowed deception, now she reaps solitude. She's my daughter, watching her shatter like this breaks me. She was my wife, I watched her orchestrate my erasure from our child's life. We each bear our burdens. Silence stretched. For what it's worth, I'm relieved the full truth emerged, no matter how painful. Same here. After the call, I toured the house, now unequivocally mine. Locks changed weeks ago, bedroom freshly painted in calming blues, furniture rearranged for a single occupant's flow. It no longer echoed with ours, it breathed mine. Emily's loan repayments arrived like clockwork, $250 on the first of each month. We'd shared 2 awkward dinners at a quiet bistro in the Distillery District since filing, conversations tentative but thawing, trust slowly rebuilding brick by brick. My phone rang Friday evening. Emily. Hey Dad, you free this Saturday? Depends, what's the occasion? Alex and I are hosting a small intimate dinner at our apartment in Liberty Village. Just immediate family who matter, his parents, you, Margaret and her husband if they're up for it. We're dubbing it our true wedding celebration, the honest redo. Your mom invited? Absolutely not. This is for the people who showed up authentically. I smiled to myself. 6 p.m. works. I'll bring wine. Alex specifically wants to apologize in person. Says he regrets not probing deeper before the wedding. He trusted his bride-to-be, that's human. You can tell him Saturday. Saturday evening, I arrived at their cozy two-bedroom with a fine bottle of Niagara Pinot Noir and a simple envelope. Inside, a $5,000 check, no strings. For your real wedding gathering. The one with heart. Emily teared up opening it. Dad, you didn't have to, this is too much. I wanted to. This is what inclusion from the beginning would have looked like. Better late than never. Alex shook my hand firmly. Sir, I owe you a proper apology. I should have called you myself, questioned the absence before the big day. No harm in trusting your fiancé initially. Key takeaway, always verify the big stuff, even with loved ones. Margaret and her husband arrived shortly after, along with Alex's warm parents. 8 of us in total, intimate, laughter-filled, genuine. We savored homemade pasta, swapped light-hearted stories, pored over photos from their belated honeymoon in the Muskokas, finally afforded via structured payments and family contributions. At one point, Alex's father pulled me aside near the balcony overlooking the city lights. Heard the full saga about the original wedding. Takes real backbone to hold your ground like that. Felt more like survival instinct. Either way, massive respect. And Emily speaks of you with new honesty now, your bond seems tougher, more real post-storm. We're rebuilding, yeah. As I prepared to leave, Emily walked me to my car in the underground lot. Dad, I've said it, but I'm truly sorry, for not reaching out, for swallowing Mom's story whole, for letting it slide. You trusted her, that's what kids do. But you absorbed the lesson, trust wisely, verify ruthlessly. I did. And honestly, I'm grateful you didn't just cave and pay it all off. I'd still be blind to the red flags. Costly tuition, but invaluable clarity. I pulled her into a long hug. I love you, always have, always will. Through disappointment, hurt, everything. Love you too, Dad. Driving home that night through Toronto's glowing streets, a profound peace settled in, not explosive joy, not mere relief, but steady calm after the tempest. My marriage was formally over. My relationship with Emily stood renewed on bedrock honesty, not obligation. My ex-wife grappled alone with her web of deceptions. And I moved ahead unburdened. The house welcomed me with its quiet comfort. I brewed chamomile tea, settled on the back porch gazing at the stars peeking through the city haze. Somewhere, my ex was likely still spinning victim narratives, desperately clinging to denial, blind to the core issue, it was never money. It was respect, belonging, being valued as family, not a mere dispenser of funds. She might never grasp it fully, but her understanding wasn't required anymore. I'd held firm, erected boundaries, voiced uncomfortable truths when silence tempted, and emerged with dignity unscathed. Emily repaid steadily, her marriage thriving on realism. My ex bore the full weight of her schemes solo. Here I was, home, porch, stars, peace. Free from financing fictions. Free from tolerating treachery. Free to define my life on my terms. That sufficed. That was everything.